starts this counterclockwise whirlpool.
How do we keep going?
Now, if you guys notice over on the left and up above the rocks over there, kind of bald spots. In the spring, the water's so high, the waves will hit up there. Little bump. Now, what happens is, with the water that high, we get about a 10-foot vortex in the middle of the whirlpool. So if we were to send a boat down at that time, it gets sucked right under. We wouldn't see it for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes.
How high are we right? How deep is it right now?
Well, look, you can see the bottom, can you? Maybe it's maybe 15 feet.
I've worked here a couple of years, and actually this is the first time I've seen some rock fall done by us. Now, up here, I can get to a spot.
I don't like white water.
What? It's fun.
It's scary.
Ready?
It's scary. White water scares me.
So when you get older, you'll come down the Hudson and the River, Moose River.
What's the black one?
It's a river in New York State. Whitewater Ranch.
Here's this little section right here on the left side. I don't know if anybody's a fan of spiders. On the right side, we have a lot of spiders. If anybody's ever heard of a wolf spider, they can be about the size of your palm, and they have a very vicious bite. They like to jump too, that's why they don't like to get too close. You can see some of the cobwebs up there a little bit. My man always is falling from the cobwebs. You can see the big ones. They're not out yet.
There's one. No?
What is it going to
Okay, right off our left side here, if you guys look up this tree, you can see where there's a buffet for a woodpecker right there.
What type of woodpecker is that, Francesca?
Tree dies off like that, fills with grubs and termites and other little tasty treats. Woodpecker comes through, drills a hole in this powerful beak. It's got its own buffet right
What type
there.
of woodpecker is that?
circle?
What is that oval shape?
Now, right off on the right side, you guys can really see a good example of what's called a phototrophic. This tree going straight down towards the river. What happens, just like a flower in a windowsill, the way it leans towards the sunlight, these trees will go straight down the rock wall because they'll get more sunlight off the reflection of the river than they would if they were to grow straight up and compete with the other vegetation. Kind of a little cool thing, just so the sun doesn't really hit down here in the morning. They do that to soak up all the sunlight they can to photosynthesize their food.
Oh, we're going to go back in the white water.
And like I mentioned a little while ago, if you guys look straight off in that triangle formation of the rock, that is a fault line that runs just south of Montreal all the way down to just north of Washington, D.C. It's one of the two major forces that have created the chasm.
Wow.
You can see where the two plates are converging. On the left side, the rock is angled downward. On the right side, the rock is angled upward. One's going underneath the other, called converging. Two tectonic plates. They move about 3 centimeters each year. Now, like I was saying earlier, some of those bigger stones just fell about a month ago. And we don't like to get too close to that. The last serious earthquake we had from this fault line now was probably 2002, 2003. About a 5.1 or 5.2 magnitude earthquake. I remember, because I was about 16 years old. Lived out in Shays East, about 45 minutes away from here. My sisters would woke me up. Oh, little weasel.
Oh, look, there's the weasel. See him jumping? Do you see him, Nathaniel?
Fault line.
One right here.
This may be a dumb question, but why is the
Look at the weasel.
built on the fault line?
Look. Did you see him go in the water?
It's not a very active.
Nathaniel, did you see the weasel?
Like I said, the earthquake we had wasn't too bad. But it's just a wooden pavilion. It's not much of a shack. It's just one of the bus stops. Now, if you guys
Look, the
look
weasel
up
got out of
on
the water.
left
He's
side
oh,
here,
you see him shake?
this big rock wall that's covered in lichen.
Just right on
We
there.
call that horse jump falls. It's a little interesting story. back in 1911, we had a director come through from Hollywood, wanted to shoot a film called Black Chasm, an old Western. It was set to star Tom Mix, a very famous actor for doing his own stunts in those days. Well, the director wanted Tom to shoot this scene where he rode a horse off of that cliff. He said, Tom, you're going to be so famous, you're going to be so rich if you do this scene. Tom looked at him and said, I'm already famous. I'm already rich. I'm not doing it. He's a smart guy. So what they ended up doing, scouring some local taverns, found a guy by the name of Arthur Jarvis. He was willing to do the scene for $5 and a bottle of whiskey. Granted, $5 went a lot further than that back in that day. I wouldn't. So the day to shoot the scene comes. Arthur tries riding the horse off that cliff. Horse is too smart. Doesn't run him. It's not going to willingly ride off the cliff. So what happens is they blindfold the horse. They didn't have PETA there to stand in their way. Now, Jarvis rode the horse off the cliff while it was blindfolded. And the horse was still too smart. As soon as it stepped off the cliff, it knew something was up, reoriented itself in midair, landed on top of Jarvis. Horse was fine. Horse swam down here, walked out of the water, went on his merry way. Jarvis, on the other hand, didn't walk away, but he did survive. Just had a broken leg. And hopefully that bottle of whiskey was enough to get him by.
Take the pain away.
Hopefully. Now, like I said, the film is called Black Chasm, 1911. It was a Fox Studios production. Okay, you guys can see the rock walls are coming to a pretty abrupt end. We're about to exit the chasm. Now, I just want to tell you a little bit about the formation. There's two major forces behind the creation of the Ausable chasm: earthquakes and water. I told you about the fault line. Well, about 15,000 years ago, this was all covered by a glacier from the last ice age. It began to melt and recede and form the first waterfall off these low cliffs right here. The first spot of Rainbow Falls. Now, over that time, the waterfall has moved its way back up the river through the fault line, since it's the path of least resistance, and is now currently 2 miles upriver where Rainbow Falls is today. If anybody ever asks you what the two major forces are behind the Ausable chasm, you can tell them water and earthquakes.
And this is where it started.
If you guys remember back at the beginning of the tour, I told you a little bit about how much water came through here from Hurricane Irene. As we're exiting, you guys can see a branch of the river that heads right through the trees, pretty much straight ahead. Well, that branch is only about 4 years old. As we get out into the opening one, you'll see the river naturally makes a right turn. But so much water came out of here during Hurricane Irene that it couldn't make that right turn. And it went straight through the trees, forming that new branch of river. It's only about 4 years old. It meets up with the original branch about a mile. And a mile from there, it meets up with Lake Champlain. Lake Champlain flows northward, which is unusual. And it will eventually meet up with the Richelieu water system around Montreal and out to the St. Lawrence River.
You're coming boat trip?
We like to joke a little bit, saying that all this water will one day be Canadian beer.
It's over there.
No, we gotta get out here and then we're gonna go see the rest of the canyon. Is that fun?
Yeah, how far is it?
I don't know. Probably about a mile.
So 2 miles.